let's look at some awesome examples of the Wow Factory pieces that were turned in. Cool. So let's start with this one from John Gehagen, whose name I've learned to pronounce. Okay, and let's watch this down. And I think one of the best parts about what John did here is just the clarity of all the actions, and also there's a kind of component to motion graphics that's known as eye trace, and that's basically the designer and animator is aware of where my eye should be looking at all times and really guides the animation to make sure that I can just follow the main story really easily with the eye trace, okay? So I see that a lot here. The arms, for example, they move one at a time. The objects move one at a time, and they're very clear, and I think this makes for like a really clear storytelling. So that's awesome. And obviously also John did a great job with the rigging and stuff, and some of the little details in here are really fun. But you know, the first job I feel like for the animator in this project is making sure that the actions are really clear to the viewer, and John did a really good job with that. So awesome. Thank you, John. And let's look at this one from Maria Sanchez Fernandez. Okay, this one's also really, really fun. And so one of the things that I really dig about this, well, let's just watch it down, but one of the things that I really like about this is these sort of synchronized ballet-like movements that the arms have for each other, as well as some really cool, like, sort of sympathetic motions that the arms, like when one arm's kind of moving one way, sometimes the other arms are very slowly kind of moving in that same direction. And I think that's really clever and really awesome, and probably not even something that I would have thought of, so I love that. And the ending here is really good too. Let me just say that good storytelling always wants to, or a good storyteller, I should say, and we saw this with a bunch of projects, a good storyteller always wants to put a beginning and an end on their pieces, as well as obviously the middle. And in a certain way, this project that I designed is like kind of all middle. And so what we see is some clever ways that students have of putting a beginning and an end on. In this case, Maria kind of put these sort of like really fun little like synchronized moves on here. And I think that these sort of give it like a human personality, but also kind of remind us that they're robot arms, right? So there's some really fantastic animation in here. I did just want to point out some of those little sympathetic moves that I was talking about. Like here, as this is going to move down now, this arm also kind of moves down sympathetically with it, and it kind of reinforces the motion in a subtle way there, right? As well as some of the really fun details like this little clap, 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 or like give it to me kind of animation there. I think this is a really great piece, so thank you so much, Maria. I really enjoyed this. Let's look at this one from Nate Rose, which is also really awesome, and I think Nate really concentrated on some of these resting positions and the sort of readiness of some of these arms, and I think that makes a big difference right away, and it looks really awesome. What we can see here is, I love that. I should play it down, but this one arm here seems to be kind of the leader of the pack, and the other ones are kind of waiting, and then this one's sort of like, get to work, you guys, and then they all kind of start to move. And, you know, I like that there's a lot of movement here after this leader guy tells the other ones to get going. There's a lot of movement, and it happens quickly, but it doesn't distract from the main story, because Nate has this arm now wait till all that's done to start this movement, okay? And I think that's really just like the way to go, okay? Really nice action here. Some of this gets a little fast, but I think this is really, really, really well done. For some reason this bugs me too, that this is my OCD nature, that when this arm here, let's see, where is this? Right here, that it kind of like, I feel like the fingers should be more symmetrical, though this gives it some kind of cool, like weird action to it. I feel like that one thing kind of jumped out at me just a little bit as being strange. But anyway, this is really tremendous, really awesome job. Lots of really good details and really nice animation in here. So thank you, Nate. I think that's awesome. And here we have Simon Tan, and he took a slightly different tack, and I thought this was really fun. Simon decided to kind of blow up the image and put a little kind of horizontal scroll across that it kind of like puts some extra movement in this, and it kind of also helps guide our eye a little bit through the whole story. So let's check this out. Right? Now, I will say one thing, which is I think it could kind of ease out and start like a little more slowly, and maybe not right at the beginning, but that's just a little tiny thing. Yep, really nice job. Really sweet. See? And there's that little ending thing, too, that I was talking about. It really gives it a sense of finishing. This little shove over, and then I like this little, like, the hand kind of dangles and returns back down to the down position. So that's like really, really, really fun. Yeah, it's really great animation here. So thank you so much, Simon, and a really nice idea to move this across. And finally, let's look at this from Stephen Bukowski. And let me move this over here. And Stephen did also a really nice job here. I think the action is very, very, very clear. And like I said before, each thing is kind of waiting just a little bit for the other arm to make the actions happen, which I think just really adds clarity. I do love this little move here, and it's really clever, and it means that Stephen obviously had to go into my Illustrator project and break all this down, which is really cool. I will say one tiny little thing is that the shadows here are above the shelf layer, and I think they should be below. Other than that, I think this is really great. I love that, the way that that arm helps that other one. I think that's just really super clever. Oh, and one other thing here, which happens, is that the drop shadow got reversed because of the way that this knocked down. And I think that would be actually a pretty easy thing to fix, and it kind of, like, the way I would have done that is like right about here, or someplace where this arm is moving kind of quickly, you could just simply like rotate that box with a hold keyframe so that at some point during this big movement here, that box gets kind of rotated. I don't think we'd ever see it, and then when it puts it down, it would just be putting it down, not upside down, but the correct way around. I think you could get away with that. So anyway, this is really awesome also, and yeah, I love all the pieces that I just showed. I'm super happy with pretty much how everybody did on this. I think everybody did a really good job, so thank you so much for this.